So my wife and son were supposed to come home last night, finally, but they didn't. They've been gone for almost 3 months. I thought last night would be the night they'd be here. Thought I'd wake up this morning in my house with them with me, but that didn't happen. It's time for us to have an uncomfortable conversation. Many of you will not be able to watch this entire video. Now, if you've been following the videos or here on our channel, you're familiar with us, the family, you know what's going on. My wife and son returned to the Philippines. My wife, well, they're both from there. Daniel was born there, lived there the first 5 years of his life, and then we moved here. He's been here the next 5 or 6. They were supposed to be gone for 2 months. There was a delay by 3 weeks because just before they boarded the flight, a day or two before they boarded the flight to come home to the U.S. from Manila, Philippines, my son tested positive for COVID. So per protocol, they had to self-isolate for a couple of weeks. They both had to get tested again. They got tested again. They both tested negative, so they were allowed to fly home. They made it all the way, made it from Manila to Japan in 4 hours, had a layover, then made it from Japan to Chicago in 12 to 13 hours, had their layover, but then their flight was canceled from Chicago to Charlottesville. And the reason why was because of severe thunderstorms. Dearly told me that they informed her there at the Chicago airport. There's a yellow jacket. Hey, what's up? Oh, what's up? I hope I'm not sitting on your nest. Look at this. Just show no fear. It's like dogs. They can sense it. And I'm actually allergic to these things. I swell up and sometimes have to go to the doctor. Now listen. Look, I'll catch it in my hand. It's not going to sting me because I have no fear. And this kind of like brings me to the point of today's topic. All flights were canceled from Chicago to the East Coast because of severe thunderstorms. It wasn't safe to fly. People were stranded in Chicago. People from New York trying to get to New York, trying to get to D.C., trying to get to Charlotte, trying to get to Charlottesville. So Dearly calls me, my wife Dearly. She calls me from the airport and she tells me this. Now, mind you, I have not seen my wife and son for almost 3 years. So it was disheartening, but it wasn't devastating and destroying. My first comment to her was, well, let's figure out what we need to do. I said, I don't want you sleeping in an airport all night. Did they offer to put you up in a hotel room? And she said, no, I asked, but they said because it was due to weather and no fault of theirs, i.e. scheduling or whatever, double booking, they weren't going to pay for a room. I said, okay, there's going to be a hotel somewhere close to the airport. I want you to stay there with our son. Do you need money? She said, no, I don't have any money. Don't send me any money. So I sent her $500. That's just how I roll. So just then, as we're talking, I hear somebody in the background yell, what the, letter F word. Letter F you, I bought a ticket to get to letter F and wherever, somewhere on the East Coast by such and such day, such and such time. You're going to get a plane in the air with me on it. Okay, so here's what's going on. Somebody, and I'm sure there's more than one person. My heart goes out to anybody who has to work with the general public. But this guy, I could hear him screaming in the background. And so Dearly starts walking away from him so we could hear to have our conversation. And she says, did you hear that? And I said, yeah, it's kind of hard not to. And she goes, what arrogance? And I said, maybe. Maybe. Now, here's where the conversation gets difficult. You've heard it said, I'm sure, seek first to understand rather than to be understood. I've done a lot of that in the last 10 years. A lot of it intentionally, a lot of it unintentionally. A lot of it has had to be explained to me, and a lot of it came by way of aha moments while oftentimes doing research for books I've written. Here recently with my latest novel, The Lunatic, I felt we were talking about somebody that obviously does have, with the main character in this book, antisocial personality disorder. But through researching that and other mental health issues and concepts, I kind of stumbled across borderline personality disorder. So this guy's in the airport screaming, F this, F that, and my wife saying, wow, he's so arrogant. Who does he think he is? He's so important. That no, maybe, maybe not. He might be ill. this man might have borderline personality disorder, for which he may seek treatment, because even if you're getting treatment for anything, you're going to have occasional setbacks, relapses, or outbursts. That's just how diseases, be they physical or mental, work. And let me point out here, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist. It's an area that has interested me my lifetime because, well, we're going to get to it. This is going to be a very difficult conversation, and many of you will not be able to finish this video. So I said, can you describe this guy to me? What's he look like? And she goes, well, he's a white guy. He's about your age, so mid to late 40s. She said he's kind of built like you. He's not overweight, but he's not overly thin. He looks kind of like he's healthy. And I said, socioeconomics. How's he dressed? Well, yeah, he's dressed nice. What about his baggage? Is he carrying his stuff on and off the plane in, plastic grocery store bag? Oh, no, he's got nice baggage. Okay, so the guy is not socioeconomically from, lower socioeconomic classes. He's traveling, he's flying somewhere. He's probably, that's not cheap. Now, it's not expensive, especially with the current pandemic, but it's not cheap. He's probably got a little bit of money. So he's probably not an uneducated person. He's probably not an ignorant fool. But at first appearance, he comes across as arrogant because he believes that one of these airlines should just put a plane in the sky just for him to board and be on, to take him somewhere to the East Coast through all these lightning storms and thunderstorms deemed to be so dangerous they've canceled all flights. Now, if you were to sit that guy down and ask him, do you really expect this to be done? Do you think it's possible? Would you like to pick the route through the storms? We'll show you the map. Here's the radar. Which way do you want to go? The guy would probably realize, oh, okay, I see. But here's the deal. And I've learned a little bit about borderline personality disorder in recent months. A lot to do with the research of the book, The Lunatic, because at first I thought this person had that condition, the main character, but it wasn't that. It was the antisocial personality disorder, among other things. People who have borderline personality disorder, and again, I'm not in any way, shape, or form. My favorite preface here is I can only control what I say. I can't control how you take what I say. I am not disrespecting anybody with any condition. Trust me, I've got my own. We all have something. I'm not knocking it. I'm not degrading them. I'm just discussing facts, and sometimes facts aren't comfortable. But one of the traits of people with borderline personality disorder is that they can go from 0 to 1,000,000 miles an hour instantly. And it could be that that's what this guy in the airport did. Now, one of my conditions, I have PTSD due to my time in Iraq, and I'm hypervigilant, and I can do the same. If I'm out in public and everything's great, I'm calm, relaxed, I'm with my family, but a car backfires as it's coming around the turn. Most people on the street, they'll hear a car backfiring, they know what it is. Well, I don't. I hear sniper fire, and I'm taking cover, saying bad words, and checking 360 degrees looking for where the shot came from. It doesn't always happen, and it happens less as time goes on, but it does happen occasionally. So I can go from 0 to 1,000,000. Okay, so I'm not knocking on the guys and the girls that have borderline BPD, borderline personality disorder, because they can do the same. I can do it as well. I'm relating here because I'm really trying to be empathetic here, because I have a very solid point that I hope a lot of you pick up on. And it's not going to be those of you who might have BPD. It's going to be those of you who have a relationship, or maybe wish you had a relationship with someone that has BPD. You're going to understand yourself a lot better if you hear me out through this. It could be this guy is a wonderful person, good family man, close friends, but he had an episode because he was planning on being home at a certain time on a certain day, and he got there and he found out his flight was canceled, and it wasn't necessarily him. It wasn't some arrogant man showing his backside in front of all these people because he thought he was just better than everyone else, which is what it can come across to someone from the outside looking in. This might have been an individual with borderline personality disorder going from 0 to 1,000,000 because something that they didn't want to happen happened. Judge not. We never know someone's situation. We never know their story. And if we do, we might be able to see their situation a little bit better. But that's why it's always best to assume nothing, question everything. It's easy to sit there and judge at me. You know, we could have said, oh, wow, we've been apart for 3 months. I haven't hugged my son in 3 months. I haven't hugged my wife in 3 months. This guy, maybe he was out in LA for 2 days and now he's going back to New York and he's only been gone from whoever he misses for 2 days and he's acting like this. It's too easy to say that, but that might not be the case. That man might be ill. He may or may not be receiving treatment. And even if he is receiving treatment, and kudos to him if he is, people still have setbacks. It's understandable. Now, here's where I'm going to veer off course a little bit and talk about this uncomfortableness. Sometimes people who have conditions, and I mentioned PTSD with me, I do get help. I get help regularly, and I get it through multiple forms. If I need to talk to someone, you better believe I talk to someone. And it's not so much because of the things that go on in my head and the fears I have for myself. I have a family. I have a wife. I have a son. I have friends. I have businesses. I have viewers on YouTube who some have gotten kind of accustomed to seeing me make a video every day, and they kind of look forward to it. And if you're one of those people, I very much appreciate you. I'm very grateful and I thank you. I've got to keep my crap together because, yeah, this is my life, but there's other people in my life. So I do get help. For a while I didn't. I was brought up in an environment in which it was believed that mental illness doesn't exist. A lot of physical illnesses don't exist. Conspiracy type stuff. And if you do think you might be ill, especially with a mental illness, it's a sign of weakness. And if you seek help for your illness, you're weak. This is not true. Nothing could be farthest from the truth. I'm here to tell you that I wasted almost 40 years of my life thinking this way and not getting help for my issues and other people's issues that directly affected me because I was part of their life and they were part of mine sooner. I wish I had gotten help sooner. But now, you know what? I'm not looking back and viewing it as if I lost time, not doing the things I wanted to do, not reaching for success because I was led to believe I wasn't worthy of it, not seeking happiness and unconditional love because I was brought up to believe I was not worthy of those things. I'm making up for lost time because for about the last decade now, I understand wholeheartedly I am worth whatever I want to be worth. And there are a plethora of opportunities in this world for me to go out there and get what it is I believe I'm worth if I'm willing to do the work to get it. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of me. What anybody else thinks of me is none of my business. And for far too many years, I made it my business. And what happens when you do that is your world is very small. You are encaged by thoughts of others. If you say, well, I want to be a writer. I want to write these books. Nope. Because this person over here who's very influential in my life says that ain't a real job. And you just want to do that because you don't want to work. You're lazy. Well, I better not pursue my passion because I can't have that person thinking that. Because here's the deal. Even if you do finally break free, you get the help you need and you pursue your passion and you make it, those people will never be pleased anyway. It's just never going to happen. Let's say you make it. And you find true love, you find unconditional love, and you find extreme happiness. Sometimes all it takes is one other person to believe in you until you believe in yourself. And I found that person in my wife dearly. And she gave me our wonderful son Daniel. And through them and with them, I have anything I ever felt I needed and lacked, I have with them. We are complete. And it shows. It seeps out of our pores. And the universe, as we send things out into the universe, will send us back what it is we're asking it for. And it sends back unconditional love, acceptance, hope, success, comfort, joy. You've seen the homestead, 6 acres, Central Virginia. And you know, I always want to make sure We are not materialistic. We are not consumeristic. Everybody's free to do with their money as they so choose. We just simply choose to, if we don't need it, we don't buy it. If we need it, we'll save up for it and pay. Dearly's trip, it's a $12,000 to $15,000 trip. We paid cash as we went. It wasn't put on credit cards. And I'm not saying this to brag. My point of this is I'm not bragging at the land. I'm not bragging at the truck we got last year, the new zero turn. What I'm saying is our needs are met. We're grateful. We do enjoy a degree of success, and once upon a time we didn't, especially when all I could do for almost 40 years of my life was focus on all the things that were wrong with me, and allowed my world to be so small because I was caged in by the closed-minded, mentally ill fears and thoughts of others, and I wouldn't allow myself to go out there and make my world bigger. We've done that, and those folks, you know what they say? They say, well, he's renting that place. He doesn't own that. That's somebody else's truck. Who's he borrowing that truck from when he makes those videos? Because here's the deal. I got help. I learned I'm okay. And I stepped outside of those barriers and I went out there and I made my world bigger and I made my world better. We can't do that for the people who refuse to do it for themselves. So those who are still back there in those cages or constructing those cages will never see facts. They will never see the massive amount of life that is enclosed in gray. Because to them, and this is very common for people who suffer from borderline personality disorder, things are either black or they're white. There's no gray, like this shirt, in between. And this will affect everyone in proximity to them. And so I'm not speaking to those who maybe have these issues, who maybe get treatment, maybe who don't. And if you are getting treatment, I commend you, because that shows that you don't lack empathy for others. You actually do understand that there are other people in your world, even if it's small, and you want to stop harming them. Well, if you're one of those who have been harmed, and you can get help, you can get treatment. You don't have to be that guy in the airport who's screaming. And again, you don't have to be like someone who might be influenced greatly by the behavior of that man in that airport who's screaming because his flight has been interrupted. It's been delayed by a day. Could you imagine if you grew up in a house where you saw that sort of behavior daily and regularly? It will affect you. You don't have to let it. You can get help yourself. Now, it's been an amazing time. I can't help but see God's hand in my life in the last 3 months since my wife and son have been in the Philippines. Because with them, I am complete. I'll mention that. And when I've thought of other things, other people, other relationships, other situations in the past that didn't turn out so well, I've often said, oh, the heck with that. I don't care. I have my wife. I have my son. We've got each other. That's all we need. And there is truth to that. But in the last month, in their absence, I have been given, by way of providence, an opportunity to reconnect with everybody from my past. I mentioned here that I have made contact with everyone, but I never went into detail past that point, and I'm not going to go into specific detail at this time. But what I will say is this. All of the contacts went great because it let me know where everybody stands currently. Some of the folks have gone out and gotten treatment themselves, and it was heartwarming to see others who had similar mindsets to me. No good, not worthy of love, not worthy of success. The best I can hope for is the bare minimum in life, some crap job, and I should get on my knees and thank my employer every day for giving me that crap job, because I am such a worthless piece of crap. I'm not worthy of this crap job, which doesn't really give me enough money to pay my bills, but hey, it could be worse. They could see who I really am and not even let me have this crap job. I know, it's a warped way of thinking. Who would think that way? Well, no one wakes up and decides they're going to volunteer to think that way. These thoughts are put there. So it was very heartwarming to find others who have also decided to say, hey, something's not right here. I'm going to get the help I need. And these others have done amazing things in their lives. They have gone on to get multiple degrees, bachelor's, master's. They have pursued careers they were already interested in, and they have businesses on the side that could support them if they were to walk into that career someday and find out they've been downsized and their position was no longer needed. They went from believing they weren't worth a crap, they weren't worthy of happiness, and they're in healthy relationships. All of us, each and every single one of us, have the right to say, I want to get better. I might not be the root of the problem. I might not be the cause. I might not be the one who suffers from the disorder. But there comes a time when you can no longer hope and have fingers crossed and pray that the person that has the illness seeks help for it. There comes a time when those who have been affected by the illness has every right to go out and seek the help they need themselves. Many of us have discussed some of these issues, but we have decided it's the past. We're in a better place. Let's keep moving forward, and let's make these relationships, now that we're back in it together, stronger than they've ever been. This is our new life together. This is our new beginning. Isn't it great being healthy? People, and I'm not going to say whether it's sisters, parents, cousins. Friends, childhood friends. I've spoken to so many people in the last month, and I'm not calling anybody out. But we're saying, you know what? We now, me and whoever that other person is or those other people, we are now healthy. We're in a good space. Let's move forward with this relationship here, and let's keep it here. And let's call each other out if we catch each other bringing up bad stuff or boogeymen that don't exist, or we don't walk around on eggshells. We don't walk around on eggshells afraid that maybe, because if you're raised in an environment where something such as BPD, borderline personality disorder, exists, you may have a tendency to distribute those traits because it's learned behavior. It's what you saw. You're the kid in the airport who saw his dad blow up that time. So, and trust me, if it's happening there, it may be happening elsewhere. Now, I'm hoping this guy is getting help and he just kind of had like a temporary relapse. And I hope when he gets home, wherever home is, I hope he goes and sees his counselor and his therapist. I'm happy to see that in the U.S., we're finally getting to the point to where it's kind of a given common understanding that mental illness is real and it's okay to get help. It's probably been like that for a long time, but I'm from Appalachian, and things are a little slower there, and it's not a knock on Appalachian, but it's just part of the culture, okay? A lot of it's cultural. Again, that's why a few months back I made a book review video on Hillbilly Elegy. Great book. The movie's okay. The book is way better. I read that and I understood so much of what goes on up here. A lot of it's because of where I'm from and the culture there. But here's my point. Because a lot of you have been listening and you're saying, I know what you're saying. You're not saying it, but I know exactly what you're saying. Because a lot of folks will be like, wow, what happened? What happened? Listen, here's the deal. Nothing happened. It's not about what happened. It's about what didn't happen. And what didn't happen is people who needed help for mental illnesses never got it. And those of us who did, either due to our own mental illnesses or how we were affected by others' mental illnesses, waited too long because we believed that nonsense that asking for help was a sign of weakness. My life has never been better since getting help, despite, not everybody I reached out to wants to have a relationship with me. There are some with whom I will remain estranged perhaps for life. Everybody's been offered the opportunity to have a healthy relationship with me as long as it remains positive and healthy, and we leave the cuckoo Cocoa Puffs at the breakfast table. There are those who don't want that. They want to carry their cuckoo Cocoa Puffs around with them in pillowcases over their shoulder everywhere they go. That is their right. I will have nothing to do with them. For now. If at some point things change, listen, I've come so far, I'm not going back. My wife doesn't deserve it. My son doesn't deserve it. My son deserves to grow up knowing, and he knows these things, he's loved, There's nothing wrong with him. There are many ways in which he's different. That's what makes him unique. It's called personality. He is worthy of happiness. He's worthy of success. He's not going to accept the bare minimum when it's his time to enter the world and enter the workforce. He will be paid what he's worth, or he will go to the next place to seek employment. I risk giving him this if I'm willing to bend and go back to people who are still unhealthy. But the minute any of them decide to get healthy, come pitch a tent up here at the campground at the place I do own. If you don't want to walk that far, I'll drive you up in the truck that's mine, not my buddy's. Your world doesn't have to be so small. You get out of that cage, you tear it down, you see the gray, you'll realize there's a vast universe of opportunities out there. And you can get on a plane, you can go to places like Asia and Europe. You can go see the Rockies, go see Mount Rushmore. Go to Virginia Beach one morning and stick your finger in the Atlantic. Jump on a couple of planes, and when the sun's going down that night, stick your finger in the Pacific. You can do these things when you're healthy, when you're well. And so can everyone else. And everyone else is worthy, and everyone else is deserving. You're a part of that everyone else. See you for more next time.